Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game ID Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into another Why You Know Game discussion. And I'm going to be talking about a movie that is kind of old, probably forgotten by a lot of people, that would make a very good video game right now, and that is The Last Dragon. Now, Jay and I talked about this on the Wingin IT Podcast, I think maybe once or twice, probably a couple times. I'd say it was at least twice that we talked about it and how fun and interesting that would be to be able to take the role of Bruce Leroy and play through it. And I'd be up for that. The game that we talked about it being based off of the type of game play style was Sleeping Dogs. And mostly because that's honestly, if you look at how Sleeping Dogs plays, it is pretty much perfect for that game. If you keep the cheesiness and the weird parts of The Last Dragon in the game as far as the story goes, remaster the audio lines from the characters, because I know not everyone that starred in that movie is still living today. And then do some new voice lines for some NPC characters that could add in side quests and stuff like that, like side missions for the story. It'd probably be pretty cool. I could see this being a fun, cheesy kung fu flick experience that would be interesting to play. And what they could even do is have famous, well-known martial artists in their prime as side characters that you can fight in this. So you could have Bolo, you could have Bruce Lee, you could have a Chuck Norris. Goodness, there's too many people to think about. There's so many martial artists that are well known. But like you could have a younger prime Jackie Chan type character, Jet Li. Goodness, I'm losing the names. I know the names of all these martial artists, but just not offhand, because sometimes I have to look at pictures of them, and I do not have the availability to do that right this second. But you could have that be incorporated into the game, where you could use Bruce Leroy to fight these different people and maybe take the Shenmue approach where he can master additional fighting techniques and such. And I think that would lend itself real well to this. It'd be cool. Just trying to think, what else was I thinking about? Because you'd want those to be available in the game as well as during the main game. So I think that including that would be a big boon for a lot of people who were enthusiasts of kung fu movies back then, and they could still take some of the blaxploitation elements of getting tongue-tied a little too much of The Last Dragon. I was about to call it Bruce Leroy, like that was the name of the movie and not the name of the main character. But you could take those elements and make a great, interesting game out of them. And you could still have that one kid that thought he could fight everybody that was getting the crap beat out of him for half the movie up until the end. He could also be playable for certain segments of the game, like for things that you just didn't have Bruce Leroy around for, or you could play with him in certain mission type situations where he has to hold down the fort until Bruce Leroy shows up. So I think that could be cool. It'd be a lot of fun, especially for when you get to those bigger fight scenes and they would make it out so that character himself could take on that number of people, but he still wouldn't just be left by himself, is all I'm saying. And I would love to see the whole Sho'nuff battle go down like the first fight. I think he stomped Bruce Leroy the first fight, if I remember right. Then the second fight, Bruce beats the crap out of him. But I think there was a handicap the first fight. I can't remember because I haven't watched the movie in a long time. But I would not end that fight with a QTE. I would definitely not end that fight with a QTE. Now, unless you're going to do something similar to how God of War did it, and those QTEs are long and strung out and very epic, then I would do it. Like if it was like something like that, because it would add to story and all that. But that fight could be something real special because of how both of them powered up before the fight. But Sho'nuff didn't die, so there's something I would add to that. But after you have your fight with Sho'nuff and he goes down and takes down the oddly crazy music producer dude, I can't even remember that character's name whatsoever. He seemed like the most important character in that story. As you take him down, everybody lives happily ever after for a little bit. There could be an added segment to the story calling it Sho'nuff's Revenge. Maybe make it take place a few months down the line after Sho'nuff he got beat. He didn't like it. He felt humiliated. Went and reworked himself, sharpened his skills. And then you come back to have another big fight with him to end the game. And it's just like maybe his gang, his clan, whichever one you want to call it, starts causing trouble to draw out Bruce Leroy. And I think that could be cool. To let all of that boil down to an even bigger fight between the two of them to see who the best is at that point. I think that would be cool. Because one, it would add to the story that was originally created. And it would also be a fun way to just add more content. Because you would think that Sho'nuff would want to have another fight with him. He'd want to get another go at after that main fight. Especially when he felt so thrown off towards the end of it. Yeah, I would love to see another hyped up battle between the two of them. Like, that could be cool. And you could have them, they could have him kidnapped. I want to say his name was Ricky, the character. I want to say the character was Ricky, the boy that kept getting into all the fights. They could say he could use that as motivation. Because, Bruce Leroy's not going to let that boy go hanging like that. He's not going to leave him in the situation where he couldn't be safe and healthy. So, I think that would be a cool addition to throw in there. And again, they could still stick with the cheesy stuff. And you probably would have to get new actors to do the voices. Because again, I don't remember who has passed and who's still with us. Some people might be able to reprise their roles as the characters for the vocal part of it, but not everyone would. That's why I would suggest just doing the remastered audio from the lines from the movie. Because I know they could do that. But outside of that, there's so much more I want to talk about with it, but I can't really articulate all the thoughts. But I do think that it could be massive. And it could be a lot of fun. It could be a cool single-player game that could be the weirdest, cheesiest, most fun experience for an old movie turned into a video game. But for now, that's it. I don't have anything else to say. If you guys have something you'd like to add down in the comments below, please do. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, please enjoy your games, everybody. And peace out.